Good morning, folks, and welcome to our presentation titled Navigating the Mobile Preference of Gen Z Students. I welcome all of you here today to get a little brief overview of what one of our key customers has been doing to leverage our technology and to learn a little bit about College Interactive. So again, thank you for joining. Presenting today, we have Jean Begin, who's the Vice President of Marketing Communications at Wheaton College in Massachusetts, and myself, Rob Feldman. I'm the founder and CEO, excuse me, of College Interactive here in the Boston area. So we always like to start out by just a little bit of scene setting and education on kind of the marketplace and the temperature of how things are happening here in terms of student recruitment. And I think it's pretty clear to all of us that there's been a huge shift in terms of the way folks communicate worldwide. And this is not necessarily even in the Gen Z younger population, but all of us, even in the adult community today. And there's certainly some new challenges being presented for colleges and universities as you're looking for new and helpful ways to engage and recruit your candidates. So we have a interesting agenda today. We'll first go through how mobile apps are really becoming and have become the primary channel for communication with the Gen Z audience, what some of the best practices might be for including mobile engagement and mobile marketing in your recruitment strategy. We'll talk a little bit about how to empower potential candidates with apps and the ability to directly connect with your college or university, and a brief introduction to our technology and how it can make a positive impact with your enrollment strategies, and at the end, a brief Q&A. So I always like to start out by asking folks that are listening, how many of you use any mobile app at all? And we'll make the assumption here that probably all of us use some mobile apps in our day-to-day lives, and also assume that you probably use them on a very regular basis. You may not know that the average teen today is using over 30 apps on their mobile device, and they use them almost constantly. It's really hard to believe that several years ago, we as adults probably never used our phone to use apps on a daily basis, but I think we can all agree that even the adult community, we're checking our phones constantly. Students surveyed are almost literally using their phones at every waking moment, every single day. And so there's some trends in mobile usage that are actually astonishing. I think with all technologies, the acceleration of growth is really amazing. Just over the last few years, we've seen the amount of connectivity through mobile skyrocket, the number of people that are using apps almost constantly on a daily basis, and the way that especially our teen audience is communicating today. Now I'd like to hand it over to Jean Begin to talk a little bit about his strategy at Wheaton College.
Thank you, Rob, and thank you all for taking the time with us today. I wanted to just outline a few things that we're doing at Wheaton in terms of our mobile marketing, and I have been at the institution for almost 3 years now, and kind of a little bit of the process that I took through in terms of understanding how we're engaging with our audiences on mobile. First and foremost, I'll do a quick overview of who we are. Located in Norton, Massachusetts, centrally between Boston and Providence, we are focused on educating our students to become change makers for social impact and social innovation. And that's something we've done since our founding in 1834 as a women's seminary, and then becoming a college in the early 1900s and going co-ed in 1988. We have a very diverse student body, wide breadth of majors and minors with a very personal and connected faculty that is engaging our students who are mostly living on campus, fairly residential, undergraduate focused institution. Now, the first thing to think through with your mobile marketing is how does it fit in within your overall strategy? So, you want to first and foremost understand at the college level and at the institution level uh, what current activities are being undertaken across the institution when it comes to IT strategy, when it comes to software being used across campus, most of that being software as a service in this day and age. How is leadership understanding the engagement of mobile, and how are truly your current students engaging with mobile today? And that all can help inform your mobile strategy for a external audience when it comes to recruitment and admission activities. And so the first thing I did in thinking about where this fits within our marketing strategy was doing a little bit of an audit within the digital marketing realm, understanding also what channels our audience is connecting via mobile, and then focusing on the content side and making sure and ensuring things are mobile friendly. I'll walk you through a little bit of my thought process and how I did that. First and foremost, the website really is the core of your marketing strategy. So always needing to understand how your audiences are engaging with your website really should be where you start. All of your marketing activities, all your marketing channels, typically at the end of the day are driving back to content or engagement on your website. So understanding if that is responsive or mobile friendly is a great place to start. Also need to take into consideration the social platforms that your institution is engaging on. The majority of users in this day and age engaging on social media are doing so via a phone. So ensuring that the content you are sharing on those platforms, if driving to your website or other areas, are mobile friendly, will help ensure that that content is accessible via a mobile device. Another thing to consider is understanding the wide variety of mobile applications that are already likely being engaged with your institution. There are multiple departments across campus that are likely engaging in software as a service for some of their activities and some of their programs and how they're engaging with students. And so understanding how those applications fit into the overall engagement is really important. I think, in this day and age, 90% of the time spent on a phone is done on a mobile app. So whether that is your institution's app or whether that is another applications within your audience's daily use, it's important to understand really what the breadth of apps are within your institution. Now, in thinking about the channels that your audiences may be connecting with you on, email is one that many times I think is underestimated how many of your customers, of your audience, are opening those emails on a mobile device. 60% of email is opened on mobile, and 70% of the users that are viewing your communication via email, if it's not mobile friendly, 70% of them are simply just deleting it and not engaging with it. So ensuring that that content is mobile friendly also should be front and center. In thinking about mobile applications, a large number are open to push notifications. So if you do have mobile apps in your campus and are using them to engage with different audiences, try to understand how that notification process works. More than 70% of mobile app users will allow for push notifications, according to recent data from Marketo. So trying to engage those audiences when they're on their mobile phone and via the applications is something that you need to take advantage of all the capabilities that exist within those mobile applications. And then lastly, when it comes to content, a couple tips here in thinking about trying to make content as mobile friendly as possible. one thing I joke about a lot is making sure it's finger friendly. So making sure that when I'm trying to engage with your content with my fat fingers, that two links or two buttons are not close to each other and I'm clicking on the wrong call to action that you want me to take. So making sure that those call to actions are clear, making sure that they are easy to engage with, and also ensuring that your content is, when it's mobile friendly, you're creating it in a way that really helps accessibility. And many times that can simply be trying to ensure that the speed and load time is and the load time is as minimal as possible. In this day and age, people do not want to be waiting as a page loads because you have large videos or large content that is within there. Trying to ensure that the content is mobile friendly is really important. Now, the second most important thing after doing an audit, in my perspective, is trying to understand the data of how your channels are being engaged with. So one of the first things I try to measure year over year, how is our mobile traffic increasing, and it is at our institution as it is at most colleges and universities. So this past year, our website visitors, 38% of them were from mobile, which is up from 26% just 2 years ago. And interestingly enough, those numbers are fairly similar to benchmark reports that any of you can easily access through Google Analytics. So Google Analytics is a free tool that allows you to obviously understand your website engagement. Within the audience section of Google Analytics, there is a section called benchmarking, and you're able to get benchmark reports for similar institutions, and you can break that down by country, by region, compare through a grouping of how many sessions are engaging with you on a daily basis. So understanding how your competitors are, or those universities and colleges that are like you are engaging with your site on a mobile basis, I think is really important to understand as you move forward. Thirdly, I'd focus on search and top tasks. So 61% of paid search visits in the first month of a campaign that we did recently were from a mobile device. So that's more than half of users are driving to our website via mobile. We're paying for those visitors. So ensuring that your content is mobile friendly is extremely important when it comes to paid search. When we did a redesign of our website, we ensured that it was top task oriented, which means bringing to the forefront the call to actions that you want your web visitors to take. So in our cases, it was about trying to get audiences to visit campus, or to request info to learn more about us, or to apply at different types of or different times of the year. So after making sure things were top task oriented and making sure that our forms were mobile friendly, we were seeing a 70% increase of those inquiries, and about a third of our inquiries that are online do come from mobile. Lastly, in terms of industry data, the 2018 e-expectations report, which is a national report done on the college search process, more than a third of seniors and juniors completed your inquiry forms on mobile. So trying to ensure that your mobile forms are friendly, and sometimes that comes down to having to make the tough decisions of removing certain fields to ensure that you can engage these users in a more positive way, is really important steps to take to, again, improving your mobile web landing. Next, I want to briefly kind of share some insights in terms of exploring your content and exploring that also within the social media platforms that we all are members of. More than 60% of our traffic comes from social is from a mobile device. So we do not want to be sharing content that on our social platforms that's driving users to a website or to other people's websites that may not be a mobile friendly experience. So you want to make sure you're streamlining that experience as soon as possible. Our news section, again, a lot of it which is shared on social and via email, the majority of that traffic is on mobile. And lastly, kind of alluding to what I mentioned earlier in terms of most social traffic being mobile, dark social is nearly 100% mobile traffic. So dark social is when users are sharing links and other content via messaging applications. And so obviously messaging applications, while a few of them are available via the desktop web, the vast majority of engagement and sharing happening there is via mobile applications. So a lot of your traffic that many times appears through the direct channel within Google Analytics is going to be coming from a mobile device. Last, when thinking about audiences, international audiences are an important group to think about how they are engaging with you, and the vast majority of that coming on mobile. So when we looked at our data, nearly 80% of non-US visits were coming from mobile when we had an international news story that was really hitting a lot of different outlets in many different countries across the world. 63% of total visits that month were from mobile, and 80% of the visits that went to the admission site after that news story popped was on mobile. So again, in times of maybe unexpected news happening in the world with your brand and with your college and university, many times people are going to be engaging with that content via mobile devices. So again, ensuring the importance of a mobile-friendly experience. Our international mobile traffic is actually almost hitting 50%. It's 45% the most recent year. It's up from 25% just 2 years ago. And many times, depending on the time of year, the time frame that we're looking at, it's equal to or more than desktop traffic. So, in this day and age, you'll hear a lot of people talk about mobile first, and mobile first certainly is a mindset that we all need to think about. But I also like to think about making everything mobile equal. And so anytime you're creating content, ensuring that it is just as equally accessible via mobile than it is via our screens. And many times that can be difficult because we are working most of the time during the day at a desk behind a desktop screen, and we're reviewing designs and other things with a larger screen size than actually how our users are going to be engaging with it. So that mobile equal mindset is important. And lastly, I just wanted to share how we are thinking about messaging apps and mobile apps in general. As Rob identified earlier, Gen Z really is using messaging apps more than any previous generation, and that's something that I think we need to think about. How are these social platforms now becoming other inboxes than just your regular email inbox? So every messaging platform that you see above has a direct messaging and inbox platform, and that's where the dark social piece comes into play. For our institution, we have a suite of apps that we're using to engage different audiences in. We have our standard mobile app that's really current student focused, and we're seeing about 500 users a week in that application. We have an alumni app that engages our alumni audience around really kind of increasing their networking via our directory. And also we use the College Interactive app within our admission and enrollment focused activities. And we've seen 88% of the users within College Interactive that are engaging with Wheaton are new to Wheaton. So this is a new audience for us that are using the College Interactive app that we had not been engaging with via our other channels. So lastly, when thinking about really directing your own mobile marketing strategy and how you might go from an audit all the way into implementation, really I'd say an important piece is diving into your data. It really helps to inform any future decisions that you might take. It might inform budgetary considerations, but that data can really be, doesn't have to be the total piece of the equation, but it has to be part of your decision-making process. I'd also prioritize and focus on improving one audience at a time, one channel at a time. We all don't have the resources to do everything all at once and be everything to everyone. So prioritization is key. And so trying to understand whether the most important audience for you this year is to better engage with prospective audiences on mobile, trying to understand maybe that might be connecting with current students, but really focusing on one audience, one channel at a time to ensure that you can kind of meet the objectives you're looking to accomplish. So with that in mind, start small, but really think long term. So and that data can really help inform your long-term strategy. And again, mobile friendly is a step in the right direction, but I encourage you all to strive for being mobile equal. When we are creating content or we are creating anything from a marketing perspective, ensuring that we're also thinking about that mobile user at the same time is extremely important, because that really is the vast majority of where our audience is engaging with us in this point in time.
Thank you, Gene. Glad you were able to give our audience today an overview of how Wheaton College is focusing on the new generation of their audience and how mobile is really becoming an impactful channel. And I really like what you talk about in terms of that mobile equal strategy. It's kind of interesting. A few years ago when we launched College Interactive, we did come out of the gates with a mobile first mindset, which I think even back in 2015 and 16 was still early. I think we can probably agree today that it's definitely trending towards more mobile first, but there's still a really important facet of multi-touch, multi-channel marketing. It doesn't really matter whether you're trying to promote a college brand or sell some sort of retail product that big brands market. Multi-touch is always going to be important, whether it's TV advertising or print ads or billboards or email and other digital channels. So, thanks for giving us that great overview. I'd like to just take a few minutes right now for the audience today to learn a little bit about College Interactive and about our technology and why we built this product and how we've been doing so far. One of the things we like to really impress upon colleges and universities is we've really evolved from a traditional marketing communications company over the last several decades working with colleges and universities, leveraging primarily direct mail, media, view books, and all types of other printed communications that have been sent out via regular mail. And we realized back in the early part of the 2000s that we needed to evolve as a company. And it was right around 2009 or 10 that we realized that mobile was certainly the next generation that should be brought in as a component in the student recruitment space. So we set out to build a mobile-focused experience that would benefit admissions marketing and admissions recruitment professionals. And so really what College Interactive is, it is a mobile app experience that's very interactive. It's a personalized experience where we actually can leverage the data that's occurring in our environment to make the experience relevant to the individuals. Very data driven. We are actually able to track multiple touch points through the experience and provide that information to colleges and universities, and of course mobile focused. And as Gene was telling us about a mobile equal strategy, that can be really leveraged in both the UGrad and graduate recruitment efforts. So certainly students today that are in college and moving on to grad programs are mobile focused as well. But these bullet points really just speak to all the different attributes of what you can do with a mobile app platform. The ability to access harder to reach demographics. As Gene mentioned, about 88% of the students coming into their funnel are new in terms of their audience. So we like to talk about, what source a quote unquote lead might be in the recruitment space. And in most instances, we're able to bring a lot of first source candidates into a funnel. The ability to really increase your geographic reach through mobile, reaching into markets where Potential students may or may not have daily internet access through a computer or a laptop, but they certainly have their phone in their hands. So we've been able to really drive some great brand awareness and help colleges all the way through the entire funnel, really from first touch right through enrollment. The ability to identify students that are demonstrating interest in the app environment and target them and help students actually match to the right college programs. The other big piece, I think, for the mobile interaction is during the nurturing phases of the candidate funnel. There's so much opportunity here to really stay in touch with students on a regular basis. And as Jean mentioned, over 70% of students are willing to receive push notifications or content delivered through an app. It's just what they're used to. So you really can take advantage of what's considered in the mobile marketing space, the mobile moment, when your phone actually notifies that you have some more content or more information from a brand, for instance here in this case college or university, that the student is interested in. So we can deliver that through in-app messaging. We do have a chat portal, and again, really personalizes the experience. Of course, to do any of this, there has to be a measurable return on investment. And that's one of the things I think that's really, really valuable about mobile. Very inexpensive, certainly a lot more inexpensive from the place we came from, which is that direct mail and print space, which is a very costly endeavor. The ability to really target the right students can deliver a fantastic ROI. So we've had some amazing success stories with several institutions, and I think Wheaton can attest to the fact that for a very small investment, you get access to a large pool of candidates, and the conversion rates are much, much higher. We've actually experienced with some of our interactive messaging click-through rates of 65% or higher, which is really just kind of something that I don't like to think we stumbled upon, but it sort of feels that way because the engagement rates are so high. So a little brief kind of overview of how does CI work. So as a CI customer, colleges have a custom in-app microsite or featured profile within the app experience. It's really a very simple way for a student to get information, streamline the ability to learn about your brand, what programs you might offer, answer certain questions if you'd like to ask them questions, and actually grab some great insight on the candidates that are interacting with your school. Students create a custom profile when they register for the app, so they're sharing a lot of opted-in, declared data about themselves, data points that are very helpful in terms of your targeting and accessing the correct students. The ability for students to actually create this digital profile of themselves, or this digital portfolio, is another great attribute. I think students feel empowered by being able to put this portfolio front and center for admissions recruiters to actually take a look at. And I think one of the obviously biggest attributes of the mobile environment is that ability to engage with prospects and measure their interactions using our built-in mobile app communication tools. So the ability, again, to push information, put it at their fingertips, allow students to engage with their brand in a quick, streamlined manner. And then Jane talked about the data as well and what to do with this data. One of the great features of our product is the ability for us to actually deliver data to you in a streamlined fashion. So there's really nothing involved on your end in terms of integration, the ability for us to push that data right into a secure portal and allow you to take that data and use it in a competitive advantage by having better insight over your candidates and really targeting them with the most relevant content. So we've had a great opportunity over the last few years of working with all types of institutions, from small to large, public to private, marquee brands to very small institutions located in rural areas. So it's really not a one-size-fits-all type of platform. I think our platform can be used very, very instrumentally, independent of what types of programs you have, what your goals are, and how you might be looking to succeed in terms of your enrollment. So I'd like to thank everybody for joining us today. I hope that this was very informational for you. Certainly, if you'd like any more information, feel free to contact us directly. I'm sure Gene would be willing to share more details with you. His email address is here as well. So please check us out online, collegeinteractive.com. You can get more information there. You can request more information. But again, on our side, feel free to contact Josh Escott. He's our senior VP that manages our higher education business development. And again, thank you for joining us today, and hope this was informational. Look forward to collaborating with you further. Thank you.